It's time for a new episode of Creature Madness, hosted by Gus from Askewed Reviews. Now, if you don't know what Creature Madness is, this was a creation by my friend Matthew over at Horror Madness, who decided to bring a few of his friends together to basically do a movie club where we all watch the same creature feature film and then each of us does our own review. Now, it's not just me and Matthew that are part of this group. We also have Bambi, Ryan, Ashley, Amariah, and Jen. And this time around, it was Jen's turn to pick the movie. And she chose the 1986 film Critters, directed and co written by Stephen Herrick. Critters is definitely one of those classic 80s horror films that if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go and do so. So here's a brief concept of this film. We have these small alien creatures called Krites that have escaped from a prison ship and made it to Earth, more specifically to Kansas. Now, these Krites are voracious eaters and will pretty much stop at nothing to devour everything. Now, it would be one issue if the Krites were only trying to go after animals, but of course, they're trying to go after humans. More specifically, a family known as the Browns, which currently are residing on their family farm and are just trying to live their everyday lives. So the Browns, along with their farmhand Charlie, are trying to fight off these tiny terrors. They do at least get some assistance from a pair of bounty hunters that have shape-shifting faces that will try to destroy or at least imprison these Krites. So if you haven't seen this one before, but you have seen Gremlins or Ghoulies, I think you'll enjoy this one just as much. If you'd like to learn some interesting trivia about this film and all four of the other sequels, I actually did trivia reviews for all of them, so feel free to check those out. As for what I rate this film, I'm sticking with a 4 out of 5, and if you'd like to watch this for yourself, it is currently streaming for free on Tubi, Roku, Plex, and Hoopla. Now it's the time in Creature Madness where I do a brief overview of the creature from the film. So if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to go watch the movie and then come back to this next part. So Krites are alien creatures that slightly resemble hedgehogs or porcupines and are about the same size or at least more like house cat size. I will say though, in some of the films, especially the first one, you will see some Krites that are about the size of bears, but that's not a common thing. They're mainly very small. Now, as for what their abilities are, first of all, not really an ability, but they can apparently communicate with each other, and they do use some sort of base language, so it's not that they're just making noises at each other. Secondly, they have these very, very sharp teeth, which can pretty much bite into anything. Next, they have quills that shoot out of their back. They work like a poison dart. First of all, it causes paralysis, but it can eventually cause you to pass out. They also have the ability of moving around by rolling, kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, just not at that speed. But in later films, this doesn't really come up in the first one, they can kind of combine together and become a gigantic ball of Krites, almost like the boulder from Indiana Jones, which that can then roll at people and has the ability of just stripping all of the flesh off of anything that it rolls over. One last thing about Krites, they do lay eggs and they appear to be some sort of cross species of maybe a mammal and a reptile. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Creature Madness. And if you'd like to see what everyone else in the group did on their review for this film, just look up the hashtag Creature Madness.